After multiple problems with TNReady testing, the state is making changes to make sure the tests run more smoothly next year. The state says it will stick with the testing vendor, but is ordering a technology review. 10 News reporter Sean Franklin explains what that means going forward. Sean?
Robin, Governor Bill Haslam and Education Commissioner Candace McQueen answered questions this afternoon about the future of testing here in the state. They say they're frustrated with the problems they saw this year. Those problems included an apparent hack, connectivity issues, and a dump truck that severed a fiber optics line. McQueen says the state will keep working with the vendor that administered the tests this year, Questar, but the Department of Education is currently in a review period with that company. Questar has agreed to allow a third party to review its technology and do a stress test on the network to make sure it can handle the job. McQueen also says the state will expand the role of a company called Educational Testing Service, or ETS, which already designs and develops the social studies and science portions of TNReady. Now, ETS will also work on math and English sections of the test. McQueen says she expects ETS to help minimize problems.
They are sophisticated in their work product, they're sophisticated in their content development, and we believe that can pull away some of the components that Questar was having to focus on as a smaller company.
McQueen says Questar did not give adequate customer service. To address that, the state is hiring someone to oversee the testing customer service. It includes regional training and support for the TNReady tests for schools. Governor Haslam says he still has full confidence that testing works and that accountability in that testing is very important. Back to you guys.
All right, Sean, thank you.